Hello, today we'll be looking at the new civilization bonus for the 3 new civ in the next expansion. Only the Mapuche was released, I believe, but they managed to data mine the other 2 civs, so we'll be looking at all of them, which is very nice and very exciting. And 10x player are eating good. There's a lot of strong bonuses, and dare I say, even overpowered for some, so that's gonna be fun, so let's get through it. First one for the Mapuche, of course, Forager drop-off plus 200% food. I'll be trying to 10x everything as we go along, of course, and everything is shared, just a reminder. So it doesn't look that strong as a bonus, right? But think about the Franks bonus, but way stronger. You don't only collect faster than the Franks, you also have your berries last longer. I did some quick math, and it's 2.2 thousand food, because you triple the amount of food pretty much on your berries, and you collect that much more amount, so you can go imp with that amount of food. It is truly great bonus, smooth on your economy so much, so great start over there. Next up, Settlement can train Spearman Line and Skirmisher. I believe Settlements act as pretty much a drop-off site, so for every resources. And now it can also build Spearman and Skirmisher, which is not the case for the other civ. So that's kind of nice. Not too big of a deal, I believe, for 10x, but we take those. Infantry, Slinger, and Skirmisher plus 50, 100, and 150 HP starting the Feudal Age. That's very strong. It is a bit like the Viking bonus. Not as good, I believe, especially if you have a unique unit that has a strong amount of HP because of their elite upgrade, but it is very powerful and is just pretty good, especially since it also works on Slinger and Skirmisher. Next up, mounted unit generate plus 30 gold when defeating a military unit. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's not. It's like a win more kind of ability, so it's not the greatest, but it is nice to have, especially if the game drags on. After that, enemy castle are revealed on the map. That's just cute. I think that's a very nice to maybe see. If you don't have any map vision, you're really in the dark and you see some castle approaching, maybe that can give you an idea of where the enemy is and might intend to attack. But it is on a per map basis, per game basis, really. Now, unique units. We don't have any info on the stats of the unique units. I'll try to drop a video as soon as we have the information. But for now, what we know, though, is that they all have an elite upgrade. So both those units have an elite upgrade, pretty much think like the Gujaras. They have their Shakramchor and their Shivamsha Rider at a stable. Now, in this case, the Mapuche, they have the Kona at the castle and the Bolas Rider at the archery range. And that is pretty bonkers, honestly, because just having extra elite upgrade, and 10x is already a unique unit-centric mode, this gives a lot of versatility to the civ, and it's also applied to all the other civs. And now, unique techs, that goes very well with their unique units as well, as we'll see. So Malon, not sure if I pronounced that right, Bolas Rider, Slinger, and Skirmisher deal pass-through damage. So if it's anywhere close to the Italian Pyrotechnia tech, this will be absolutely insane, because the end cannoneer having pass-through damage for the Italian is already great for a base unit, unupgraded unit. And now you're telling me that the Bolas Rider, which can be an elite unit, have with insane stat, I'll assume they'll have great stat, can have also pass-through. This is insane. And it goes really well with their final tech, the Imp unique tech, which give pretty much, it says Team Castle unique unit and Bolas Rider cost nothing. You heard that right. Every unique unit for your team, once you research that tech, is free. And of course, for the Mapuche, on top of it, their Bolas Rider, which is from the archery range, is also free. So you can see how you can just spam a lot. And that tech is honestly, like, dare I say it's the best tech in 10x. I might make that claim. Like, this tech is absolutely bonkers. Think about having a game with, I don't know, Byzantine. They just have Byzantine, they don't have the strongest eco, but they have a really strong unit with the cataphract. But that cataphract costs a ton. But now you have a Mapuche ally, your cataphract, once that tech is researched, is free. You can just focus on getting stone, getting more castle, and spamming your godly cataphract. Same with Persian with their war elephant and other various unique units in the game. Like this is bonkers. I absolutely love it, but that could make for some insane game. Anyhow. Oh, I almost forgot team bonus. Extra, what is it? Spearman line and skirmisher plus 20 line of sight. Nothing crazy, just nice quality of life. Next up, let me just move that to the side. The Muiska. So Archer and Monk civilization. I don't think we can beat the Mapuche because Mapuche looks very strong, but let's see what they have. Advancing to the next age cost no gold. So that's save about 1,000 gold, I believe. Quick math. So that's nice. Weaker than Italian, but we take that, sure. Settlement cost nothing and heal nearby units. Just nice quality of life. The heal will also should be boosted in 10x as well. So it could be interesting to have some forward settlement to heal your unit depending on how strong it is. So that could be an interesting play, especially if you plan on being aggressive. Champion warriors and archer range unit plus 10, 20, and 30 melee armor. That is interesting. Champion warrior, it wasn't mentioned yet, but they are replacing the sword line unit. So that will be an interesting unit we'll have to follow. Also, it also affects the archery range, so that is just an interesting tag. You think about the Malian, but instead of being pierce armor, it is melee armor. We'll have to see it in practice. It depends on the unit, really, in the situation, but it could be very strong. Next up, now we're talking about, like, that's the core of the Muiska bonus, in my opinion. The Monk regain Fate plus 500% faster. Monk are not used that often in 10x, but it could be very powerful to just have insane amount of regen, or a Fate regeneration, I should say. I did the quit napkin math, and it equate to about 6.5 seconds, I believe, if my math is right, of course, to regen your whole bar. So you can think about having Aztec with this, or even Spanish with Inquisition for instant conversion, and you don't even need that many monks to make it work, so you just spam, spam, spam. That could be really fun and maybe make monk play more viable. So yeah, that's something to look out for. And finally, for the bonuses, Caravan and Guilds are free. No effect in 10x are still just free. Just nice to have. Of course, 2 unique unit with elite upgrade. We'll have the stats later down the line. And now, unique techs, let's see how strong they are. Herbalism, Archer line, and Champion Warrior move 150% faster. That is alright. There's not a lot of tech that actually give Archer line movement speed. So that's actually interesting. Could go well with maybe Ethiopian, a shoe, bolt magazine if you have a lot of archer. It's not very strong. Same with the other tech. Slinger plus range, train faster. That could be interesting. There's a lot more slinger tech for all those civ, including the Inca that already have one. So you can have some interesting slinger play because it's not a unit you see often. So that could be nice to see it more, but it's an imp tech. So that's why I'm a bit more reluctant on that, but we'll have to see. And finally, their team bonus. That one is actually very strong. Natural gold source lasts 150% longer. It is the Maya bonus, but just for gold. But it is pretty good, especially in a long game when you want you can pretty much fight longer. Just having more gold, everybody like that. It is a very strong bonus. So not as strong as a Mapuche, but very interesting tech all around to play with. And finally, the last one. Let's see what we have. The 2P, Archer and Infantry Civilization, start with 250 of each resources, so that's just nice. Pretty much give you more momentum, which is great, so think about Lithuanian, Persian, which can age up very fast. Not as strong for the 2P, because you don't have enough to age up right away, but you start very close to being able to age up. So you can make some interesting play, gain some momentum, get your tech early. That's very strong. Villager can garrison settlement. That's whatever. Think about Khmer bonus, sure. Next up, that's very interesting to me. Fallen units return 150% of their cost. I was looking at that and I was thinking, wow, can I just delete my scout and gain resources? That'd be very powerful, but it does say fallen units. Maybe it will have to be unit that die in combat. We'll have to test out once we have access to the game. But even if it is unit that you send out, if you send out unit early and they die on fortification or to other unit, you regain more than their total cost. Of course, if we can mod it that way, I just assume we can. We'll have to see once we have the game files. But that looks, that's something that can be very powerful. And finally, for their bonuses, archery range and barracks upgrade cost no food. That's very nice, just a quality of life pretty much. We take those, sure. Unique unit, same deal. We'll have the stat later on. They all have elite unit unique upgrade, so that's nice. And unique tech. I won't try to pronounce that, but Champion Warriors and Slinger attack 250% faster. That's very powerful. Especially since a castle tech, you can try to put some pressure early with Champion Warriors and Slinger. And let's say you have other civ that might buff your infantry or slingers in some way. That could make for an interesting early push to surprise people. So interesting there. But I'm more interested in the Curare. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Foot Archer and Fortification deal poison damage. Foot Archer having extra dot damage, pretty good, although Foot Archer do tend to overkill when you mass them, so it doesn't really apply to them. It really depends on the situation, but I'm very interested in the Fortification working with this. Since you can have, for example, Japanese, I assume every projectile of the Japanese would add a dot that would stack on top of each other. Same with maybe having Teuton with Crenellation, so long range castle, and you garrison a bunch of units in it to throw a ton of arrows that then do a ton of damage from far away. I can see some real fun with that. We'll have to see how it works, but it goes really well with their team bonus. Tower and castle provide plus 100 population space, so even more unit than those for even more arrows. Like that could be very interesting. But it is imp though, so it is very late. But I can see some opportunity with that. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. We went through all the tech and bonuses. We'll have the unique units. It'd be nice if they released the stats before, if we could have access to the files, but I don't think we will. We'll probably see them in 2 weeks. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to talk about. Great fun for 10x coming in the future, so I'm pretty stoked about all of this. I hope you are too. Have a good one.